Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about what is Scrum. So let's go get started. The objectives of this video are to describe what Scrum is and how it differs from Agile, describe the roles in a Scrum team, what the benefits of Scrum are, what is the Scrum Framework, and identify the 3 Scrum artifacts. So let's start. So what is Scrum and how does it differ from Agile? Well, Scrum is a framework for developers, for delivery, for sustaining complex projects. The main goal of Scrum is to create valuable products through continuous improvement. The Scrum team develops the product in self-organized teams, releases the product, and then takes the feedback from the users to enhance the quality of the product in the next sprint. Scrum is an Agile framework, and it's not a methodology. Agile is the mindset of the approach. Scrum is a framework that incorporates the Agile principles into everyday communication of the work. So if you want to know more about Agile frameworks itself, you can see my video on what is Agile. Now, Scrum dates back to the 1990s, and the Scrum framework proposes 3 core roles: the product owner, the development team, and the Scrum Master. A project manager is tasked only to be a buffer between the development teams and anything that may distract them from their goals. Now, if you want to know a lot more detail about Scrum itself, there is the Scrum Guide, which is the primary source of Scrum. It's a 19-page document, and it's the Scrum body of knowledge, and it can be downloaded from scrumguides.org. So there are 3 different Scrum team roles. There is the product owner, who is accountable for the product value, and this person makes all product-related decisions. For example, what specifically needs to be implemented and prioritized? Well, the product owner needs to understand the requirements from the internal and the external customers, stakeholders, executives, and the market in general. The Scrum Master is the owner of the process. The Scrum Master promotes Scrum and helps everyone understand it and work together. If things don't go well, the Scrum Master guides the team and helps them with their difficulties. For example, the Scrum Master removes any impediments that are preventing the team from progression. The Scrum Master serves the team, unlike the project manager who tells the team what to do. And then the development team owns the work and the way that the work is executed. They determine how to take requirements and turn them into potentially releasable outcomes. This is why the development team is self-organizing in its work. They are collectively accountable for the delivery. Now, there are 5 events of Scrum. There's a sprint, sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. You can see the diagram here of how they all flow together. There are many benefits of Scrum, which is why a lot of people use this. First, it provides a structured approach to deal with complexity and changes. Next, it continuously maximizes product value. It has high product value and short feedback loops that bring high customer satisfaction. It has higher employee engagement, better risk control, higher quality outputs, and the earlier and frequent releases decreases the time to market, which is early saleable products, which includes increasing the revenue. So let's look at the Scrum Framework. In this diagram, you can actually see the whole thing out. And we're going to go through each of the different phases. Scrum is pretty transparent, and while everyone is aware of what's going on, they enable faster progress towards success. The Scrum team is intentionally designed to be small. It's 3 to 9 members, and it is self-organized, as I've said before. So during the sprint planning, the product owner creates a prioritized list of features required, and that's called a product backlog. And during the sprint planning, items are selected from the backlog by a small team of 3 to 9 people, and the development team determines how to develop those items. In development, the development team develops the items in a time-boxed sprint. It must be completed in a set time, usually around 2 weeks. The development team meets every day in a short meeting called a scrum or a stand-up meeting, and this meeting occurs at the same time every day, and it's also time-boxed to a max of 15 minutes. And during this scrum, every team member is asked and answers the following questions. First, what did they do yesterday to contribute to the team meeting the sprint goal? Second, what do they plan to do today to contribute to the team meeting the sprint goal? And third, do they see anything that may block or prevent them or the team from meeting that sprint goal? And during the development, a manager called a Scrum Master keeps everything running in the sprint and notes any blocks or issues that may affect the sprint. Next is the sprint review. At the end of development, a product is ready. The development team performs a sprint review, and this is a meeting to present the product to the product owner, review the work that was and wasn't completed, and collaborate with the product owner and other stakeholders on what to do in the next sprint. And the last part is the retrospective. Finally, a short retrospective meeting, which is about 1.5 hours for a 2-week sprint, reflects on just what was completed in the sprint and what can be improved. And then the cycle starts all over again. There are several artifacts in a sprint that you need to be aware of. The product backlog is a single source for what needs to be done for the product listed in priority, which can change. A product backlog management is the responsibility of the product owner. The estimates are the responsibility of the development team. And this backlog is updated through the process called product backlog refinement, which is a collaborative effort. The sprint backlog, the items here are selected to be done within a single sprint, and the sprint backlog is owned and managed by the development team. Burn down charts are a graphical representation of how quickly the team is working through a customer's user stories. It's an agile tool that's used to capture a description of the feature from the end user perspective. And the burn down chart shows the total effort against the amount of work for each iteration. And product increment is basically the output of the sprint. So the definition of done then can vary among team members, as the development team may think that the product is done when it has been developed, tested, and accepted by the user. But other teams may define done when it's more of testing, like regression and end-to-end testing is complete. If you like this video, go ahead and smash the like button. And if you want to see more like it, then subscribe to my channel, because I'm always putting out information about project management. Thanks.